everybody. Welcome to NIQ Community Tournaments. Today we're having our Oceania Showmatch, Kage versus the Vacuums. We're so excited to bring you this game, guys. Apologies for the delay, but we should be good to go now. Actually, before we start, we've got two of the players from the teams to actually have a pre-game interview. So, let's introduce Alama and Toxikill.
Hi.
Hello.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good.
Good. How are you?
Doing all right myself. Actually, I'm looking at some of the lineups you guys got, or I mean the player lineups, not the actual lineups in game. You guys have a really wide range of ranks and experience. How do you guys feel about coming in together?
Uh, pretty
Well,
unconfident.
okay.
I see.
Uh, we're all unranked. That's just a shroud to hide the embarrassment. Um,
It's
yeah.
it's misdirection, it's intentional. You gotta psych up your
Oh,
opponents
yes.
like, oh, are they all immortals or are they all irons?
Exactly.
Exactly.
No, we're all radiant.
Oh, I'm
Wow.
scared now.
They're
C's
just
are
weak.
working, the psych's working. Actually, you guys have any like maybe opinions about the current patch? You guys maybe have any changes to your game plans after the Stinger nerfs, maybe?
We don't use the
Well, not
stinger.
with the stinger nerfs, but after patch 5.12, we had to remove Chamber from like 90% of our comps
Yeah.
and
Ah,
replace them
yes.
with other Sentinels, like
Thank.
Killjoy, which is really strong right now. A really dominant pick on most maps at the moment.
Hmm.
Yeah. None of my team wanted to use chambers, so it wasn't really much of an issue.
Well, I do have a question for the two teams, right? Is anyone planning on showing any harbor today? I know it's a very unpopular pick, but will there be any harbor, or is it a surprise? What are we gonna see here?
It depends on how annoying Dusty Industries wants to be. We'll just hope that he listens to me. So hopefully not.
Right. Yeah.
From us, we do have some off-meta comps, especially on Lotus, but no Harbor today.
Are we going to be seeing a Lotus pick today, or any
Ooh.
maps you're very uncomfortable playing, or something you really haven't familiarized yourself with? Maybe the new split changes. Is that a concern for your team or anything?
No, we decide that Split will probably be our second ban, unless of course the Vacuums will pick it first. Lotus is a very strong pick for us, so that'll probably show up as the decider, hopefully.
Right.
All right.
Okay, that's going to be exciting. We haven't really seen any Lotus matches on here yet, on NIQ especially. So hopefully we get to see some Lotus action. That'd be cool.
Yeah. I hope
Right, I
not.
feel like I think that's all we have for the initial interview. So maybe we
Yeah, I
can
believe
hop
that's all
in.
we have so far.
Yeah.
We can transition into the map bans.
All
Hey,
right.
thank
Cool.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys very much. Good luck.
Thanks for coming. All right, so I think they're going to be starting the map bans right away. I think right after the pre-match interviews, we're going to be seeing a lot of the map bans coming in. But as we mentioned, Lotus is going to be something that they hopefully get as a decider map. Maybe it's a quick ban right away. Split is a popular pick, especially after it's being re-added into the competitive pool. But what maps do you want to be seeing today, Exia?
Um, I think yeah, Lotus is a very fun map to see. I mean, especially in like the pro scene, you never see Lotus. I think there was maybe one Lotus game in the challenger scene, and that game was crazy to watch. So it would be amazing to see any new like any of the newer maps, especially like Lotus, Pearl, just to see like more new Valorant content. I think Split would be interesting. But again, I think it's kind of an old map. It's very easy to get back into once you understand how those sort of fundamentals work about getting a main control and taking giving some of that mid presence to make your opponents a bit scared of where you're gonna go.
Right. Yeah.
But overall, in general, those are the things I'd like to see probably.
Now, if you think Split is like a very popular pick, it's like a one of a go-to maps. Oh, by the way, we have Icebox as the first map ban that's coming out from Kage. Um, do you want to see Ascent? Because that's like a really popular map that maybe people think, oh, well, since everyone's fluent in Ascent, maybe we should be picking that. Or is it something that they'd rather ban and then they'd move on to something that's more of unfamiliar territory, like, again, Pearl, Lotus? Uh, would you like to see Ascent?
Um, I'm not too sure actually. I think because we see so much of Ascent already. Though to be fair, Ascent is just one of those maps that you need to know how to play. If you allow your opponents to be good at Ascent and you're not prepared for it, then you're gonna have a rough time, especially in like the best of fives or even just any best of three. Having to constantly ban, say, Ascent would be just a hindrance, but that's also why it gets kind of boring and it's a very vanilla map, right?
Right, yeah.
Three lanes, you have a mid, you have B site, you have A site. If you take mid control, you can go B or A. There's not too many gimmicks in a sense, and I think that's why people gravitate towards it. It's more based on the I guess you could say those map fundamentals, like Split as well. I think Split is also sort of a vanilla map to say the least. It's just a bit more compact.
Now,
Uh,
going back to the map picks, actually, I'm looking at it. Lotus is unfortunately banned by vacuums. Fracture, one of the relatively newer maps, is picked as first by Kage Esports, and then we have Split, which is the vanilla map. Now, the second map put into play. Pearl is also banned. I think they're taking a lot of the newer stuff out, or really unfamiliar territory here. But Ascent should be probably the decider map because it's a fallback. It's a go-to map here.
yeah, I'm not too surprised. I think people, even with, just a week to prepare beforehand, before the new map released into competitive, there's a lot of variables you have to account for. It takes a lot more time to just really get used to everything.
I agree. Oh, there are two map picks going out at the same time. Haven is actually banned. That's the last ban, and then we have Ascent as the decider map. Now, vacuums will be defending first for Fracture, and that means that Kage will be attack. Well, they have to pick their side first in Split, but we're looking at it. Haven, I think, is a good way to get rid of another three-site map. Because if you had Lotus and Haven at the same time, I think it would be purely chaos. Too many sites to take track of. So they're going for more of the, I guess, I'm looking at it more of the fast-paced maps in play. So you have Fracture, which is a lot of control, maybe ultimates coming in. Split is another vanilla map, and Ascent, of course, because people are so familiar with it. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of fast-paced plays here, but I think we're going into agent selection now.
Indeed we are. So our first map, Fracture. That's gonna be quite interesting to see. Normally people don't like Fracture. I always get that banned in my competitive queues. But here we go.
People still hate Fracture. I don't think it's too much of a bad pick, in my opinion. I think they can work a lot with pressure from both sides. As you mentioned, there are people in different kinds of skill levels, for both teams. So we're going to have to see how they play around their strategies or how they approach different areas of the map. Uh, we seem to have a very quickly decisive vacuums team here with all of their players locked in. I think they're ready to go.
Yeah, definitely looking very confident here. It seems though that the core is probably the same. Brimstone, Cypher, and Breach. I think you don't. Oh,
Oh
Kake's going for the
no!
all Cypher comp.
I think that's good.
Truly,
What
truly
if
a
it's a
great
roulette?
comp.
That would be funny if it was a roulette where anyone just went random and said, "Okay, well, we have the confidence to win anyway." Uh,
Everybody's
but
a flex character.
Select your agent.
I wouldn't say Sova's a very popular pick for Fracture. Everyone else is kind of meta if we think about it. Cypher's a really good Sentinel. Neon, of course, is one of the staple duelists, other than Raze. But how do you think Sova would be playing into this? I don't think I've seen many Sovas actually either have lots of value or be played correctly in Fracture.
Yeah, I think part of the reason why Sova doesn't see as much play on Fracture is power creep and how map design changes over the course of, I guess, Valorant's map making process. You can see here, right? A lot of the I suppose you could say enclosed spaces as well as just the many corners in this map make it ideal for agents like Fade because even though the Prowlers have been nerfed a little bit, she still has two of those that you can just send out, and it really just becomes a game of who has more information in these situations. And Soa, while he does have a lot of range with the recon bolts, he doesn't have the frequency, I guess, that Fade does.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think Fade, if more often than not, that would be your other initiator than Breach on Fracture. It's a good way to, like you said, it's a way to clear close angles very well. It's a little zigzag going on in Fracture, but I think here we have like a lot of B pressure coming on. That's a hard B push for now, but A main seems to have aggression as well.
Yep, we're seeing Vacuums just going for an extremely strong arcade push here. All 5 members grouping up. No utility exchange just yet, just taking contact.
My camera is destroyed.
Camera gets destroyed. And Long's just gonna reposition here in heaven. But even still, even though utility has been traded, not too many deaths. Now the first kill does come in here. Doxicale with 2. Manages to find... Oh, Milf Hunter manages to find Cypher in heaven. 3v2 situation now. Kage, not exactly in the best position, smoking off heaven again. Adams find 1. He does.
Spike down B.
I don't think that knife catches a person in tower, but that flash gives away.
Yeah.
Player standing.
And now RBDJ, his position known. Can he outplay this Neon here? He cannot. And Vacuums take the first round.
I think it was a little bit lost from, well, both the defenders and the attackers. We had a very strong arcade push at first, but then we had some kind of hold up. Not many people were actually holding from tower. I think the only person actively holding B or the site itself was Cypher. So I think rotations were a little off, but I think they're still testing the waters as well. We're going to see how both teams play out. It's still, well, the second round. So
Yeah, it's not too uncommon to see Cypher just hole up in tower just because of those trips and cages. But now we're gonna see Vacuums sort of test the waters on A side here. 3-man push onto Dish. And the other two just staying a little bit quiet. Trying to take contact on A main. No information given just yet. RBDJ does send out a knife. Knows they're not coming from B. And now Vacuum's deciding to back up a little bit after figuring out that maybe there's a couple more people here than they thought.
I think they have the right read here because they're veering back to B, and the only person there is actually just Breach holding from tower. Smokes come in, and now it's left for pretty much a 4v5 retake here.
Ooh, very dangerous pick here with the Marshall. Eginator is able to get a bit of free damage, but not enough. Now Vacuums all huddled towards heaven. The worrisome shots are traded. Long goes in for the hero play. Gets 1! But Gunpig manages to trade him out.
One enemy remaining.
Wait a minute.
RBDJ
Whoa, that's becoming
just comes up
dirty.
from heaven with the classic.
That was a bit scary. That's 2 people left alive.
Yeah. I mean, that was a lot closer than I expected it to be for, you know, just classics.
I don't think they really invested into anything except for I think I saw 1 shorty on someone, but that wasn't much of an investment from the defending side, and they managed to take out 3 players in a short amount of time during their retake.
Yeah,
So it's pretty
I mean,
impressive.
A shorty kill just means you have 50 extra credits left over, so it's worth it, I'd say. But now, we're about to see Vacuums pushing extremely fast on the A side through main. But will they see Long here?
Spike down A.
Rhymer does manage to tag Artemis. Or not Artemis. Yeah, Artemis.
Deploying drone.
And now, about to see the Soba Drunk come out. Manages to see RBDJ in the corner. And RBDJ, was that through the smoke?
I think it was, yeah. It was just a shot in the dark.
And Long just pushes through like a Giga Chad.
Enemy remaining.
And clean round from Kage.
I think what I liked a lot about that that hold on A, it was a very aggressive push out from the vacuums, but you had so much utility just holding them back. You're covered by the brim smoke, you have a molly coming out from the brimstone at first, and then you have a molly from the KO coming in. And if all of that fails, you have the KO knife to suppress all of their abilities. So it's just hard to enter A. I think their rotations were much cleaner and their hold was just much better. They were set up for trades. I hope they keep this up because this is how you can counter this really aggressive playstyle from vacuums.
Yeah, and if all else fails, you know, you just spam through the smoke. You have 4 people on site, just shoot through that, you know? They can't come through. But now, about to see shots exchanged. Edgenator with the first kill on Dusty. Kage in a good defensive position here. Artemis. Oh my Artemis. This is risky. This is risky. And he finds one. Artemis with an amazing play on the zipline. Finds 3. Can he find another?
My.
5 bullets left and he finds the last one and talks a kill.
What a 4K from Artemis. I was expecting maybe a slower play coming out from the defenders, especially seeing that both Brimstones have their ultimates coming out. So if there's any plant that goes down, any sight or execute take that they do, I was expecting that to come out, but apparently you can just go down the rope, catch someone off guard when they're not looking, and get a casual 4K.
Yeah, I mean, that's the opposite of a Crashy's moment right there. Go across the zipline, get 4 people. Breach Tank comes out. Flashes. Molly's doing a lot of damage on Edgenator here.
There's one
Orbital
Brimble.
Strike does force him to go back. Now Vacuum's all on site. Still a 5v5 situation. Another Orbital Strike comes in to deny the plant. Artemis finds a kill. Edgenator with 2. Now Moth Hunter stuck all on his lonesome, isn't able to get the clutch.
That's 3 rounds in a row now by Kage. And I think they've got the momentum going. I think especially you can see it, how they're shooting, how they're holding from different angles. You have the breach with a multi-kill coming out in tower, and I think they're going to be hitting B here again, but maybe in a different way. I think they haven't really pushed B main before, so I think we're going to be seeing something different here.
Launching smoke.
All 5 members are still grouped up towards there. Flash does come out, but the smoke early. And the stun.
Oh, are you holding tab? There's 5 shorties pushing in from B main.
Oh. 5 shorties versus 5 vandals. It's about to be a meat grinder here. And already 2 fall. 3. But Botex does manage to find 1 somehow.
Enemy remaining.
Kage making very short work of these shorties. Botex managed to pick up a rifle. Forced to peek out of this. And Kage just kind of trolling him.
Oh, the PM. Oh,
Botex
no,
doesn't
I
hear the
know
knife.
exactly where he is. He's gonna go for a knife.
Oh! It's a 5k. Oh,
Was it
man.
worth it? Was it worth the ace, really?
Now the economic position for Vacuums is looking a little bit better, actually. Botex sitting on cool 4,900. Rifle already in hand.
I can imagine Botex going crazy and saying, "Oh, I had a shorty. I ended up with an ace with a vandal. Oh yeah, did you win the round? No, but
It's the important
cool
things
clip.
that matter. It's the stats. And now Ryan finds the timing, but misses the stun. Gunpig manages to take him down while he's recovering. No theft. Does show Long where they are. Now he's stuck in heaven with an op. Oh, imagine if that hit. Botex again, just stealing weapons off these guys, but RBDJ, nice shot on the operator. Now, Dusty's just holding up for dear life, but Toxic Kill tries to stick the plant. Doesn't end up working. EJ
Was
looking a
Edge
bit
trying to
confused.
shoot his own teammate?
Wait, is that the enemy Brimstone? I get
It's
confused,
Brimstone.
you know. There's Omega Brimstone, there's Future Brimstone, whatever.
I think that was a bit. I mean, that was definitely messy. I like the nade coming out from KO just denying the plant. I think they might have had the read that it was being planted on top of the site, so that nade just completely stopped. I guess a maybe winnable round because Cypher was just holding from Dish. I think they had like a whole setup coming on there.
Yeah, and now Vacuums again looking for a fast A main rush. But Ryan able to see a lot of presence to get out there in time. Now Dart doesn't manage to see anyone, but the Molly does so much damage. I believe Artemis will just spam down in combination with Molly. Dusty, only 67 HP to his name. Now Ryan going in for a aggressive play. Sure does manage to find him.
Wow, really strong hold coming out from Kage. It's a lot of the delays that they're trying to cause for the rest of their team to come over. And if you saw how they were positioned earlier, they weren't really on the site. They were actually holding around the tower side of A, the CT side of A. It was a retake setup, but no one was actually able to enter. I feel Sova didn't really have like any utility coming out to check for the site. They don't really have any clearing utility other than Neon and Breach, and maybe some Brimstone. But it's really hard for them to get into site.
I think part of the problem you're seeing is that Vacuums has kind of ditched the split plays onto like A or B. They're just all going through one side, and I just noticed Botex has a Minecraft fence gate crosshair. Oh, the Kage.
Now we didn't see that coming. Oh,
Kage's
no,
ready
the
for
team's
this.
stunned.
Taking map control, and the ult does come out. Stuns Ryan. Helps Milfunner find one.
This is a
But that's all they'll
bloodbath.
get.
I mean, if anything, Kage is just punishing Vacuum here because, again, they've abandoned the entire split pushing strategy they've had going on or their playstyle. All of them are just funneling into one entrance. So we're seeing Kage punish that by aggressing from a different point of the map. How do you think, should they play slower? Should they try and split up again, or try and rotate and not really commit to a site right away?
I think Fracture gives you a lot of options. You could speed up, you could slow down. It really depends on how you really want to work your comp. But I think Kage, regardless of the comp, I mean, they have a very similar comp. They have a Neon, they have a Brimstone, a Breach, and a Cypher. The only real difference is the other initiator, which is KO, who shouldn't honestly change up the playstyle too much. But now you're gonna see Botex here getting knifed. Absolutely rolled on, and Ryan breaks his legs a bit. But anyway, like I was saying, it really just depends on how you work the map, not really what the comp is about. And so Vacuums are just kind of going through one choke point, and really all you need is a Molly here, Aftershock there, another Molly here, and already the whole team's ready to fight you.
Yes, this should do.
My personal opinion is that they need to try and slow down a bit and try and get picks.
Ooh, nice flash from Gunpig there. Lock. Being a little bit too aggressive with that op there. Milf Hunter a
Especially on a
bit wary
Cypher.
about. Yeah, there's no escape, and now Artemis hot on the flank,
Spike down B.
running away, playing the life. Aggressive ult here, spamming through the smoke, and somehow finds Milf Hunter with the orbital strike. Now Dusty alone again, runs right past Ryan. Opts for the crouch spray, doesn't get it.
Last round before the
Was that the last bullet on Ryan as well?
I actually didn't notice, but it was a one tap.
It was a one tap. I mean, it's better than a knife, I'm assuming. These. Oh, it's a bit of a stomp going on. It's a 9-2. Do you? I want to see a 9-3. Honestly, I want to see a comeback from Vacuums, a whole new approach, and if they manage to come back in their defending side with maybe the same aggression that they're putting out here, that would be a good turnaround for them. If they have the momentum going, they can take this game completely flipped. Especially starting with that opening from bot protects. The body extend.
They do find the Cypher first, which is a pretty big pick on a map like Fractured. Now you have a lot more space to rotate. Just open up these angles. Now Vacuums maybe a little bit indecisive here. Not crawling up A main just yet. No, Dusty's just finding a gun there. They are making a lot of noise as they try to find a rotation, but Toxicale has this spike going alone. This could be very, very risky, but unfortunately, nobody's there to contest.
They're backing to A.
Yeah, taking the zip line to go to Dish. But Botex still in A main, keeping that pressure there.
30 seconds left.
Now eventually, Artemis will come into contact with Toxicale here. Shots traded as he falls back. Smokes come out, but RBDJ completely stalls the push with his ultimate.
They have 13 seconds left.
Make that 10, but the trades do favor Vacuums right now.
Can't use that.
There's 5 players are still remaining. Only 2.
Player standing.
This is a 1v5 retake now.
Yeah. All up to Edgenator here, as he manages to eke out a bit more utility. 1 flash remaining, but the situation looks grim. Vacuum's playing it slow, playing it safe. And Edgenator falls into the trap.
What a tripwire from Cypher. I mean, it was a 1v5 retake with everyone pretty much healthy with utility. And I think they even had a Brimstone ult. They had so many ults coming into that round. I don't even know how they got 3 picks straight off the bat when they dropped from Dish. I thought they had that in the bag. I mean, the
especially
defender.
after the command. I mean, their utility was basically done, but I do suppose they had the smokes out just in time.
Oh yeah, the smokes did come out right in time. I think again also the pick onto Cypher was a massive one, even if they backed going into A. It's just it opens so much more options to go in approach's side. This is really a fast coming out from Kage.
Yeah, but you're seeing a very multi-pronged attack here. 2 coming through Sand, 2 coming through Main, and then 1 coming in through Dish. Artemis gets that free kill, basically, because this just wasn't contested. Now Ryan, kind of feeling himself, shooting into the smoke. And he does manage to find the last kill on Dusty.
Oh, Ryan's actually feeling it. I mean, just boldly going in and shooting through the smoke with a sheriff.
And just finding body shots.
body shot Barry, as they say. But I mean, if it works, it
Actually,
works. Yeah.
looks
But
like. Oh, sorry.
no, I was just gonna say that I like that approach from them. I think it was what the vacuums weren't doing. They were split pushing onto. They were waterfalling onto A, which is creating a lot of pressure, and pretty much vacuums got overwhelmed with that.
Ryan with the first pick on gun pick here. Gonna be a lot of their utility stalled, and now Ryan not getting that second body shot. Oh, with a little teabag. Oh no. You hate to see it. Now Botex with the
Last
shorty.
player standing.
Oh, they're running it
Find the
down.
one. Ooh, solo. But Edgenator does manage to give him a bullet back.
I think we're supposed to be seeing a lot more shotgun plays into this.
Yeah, I think Botex was considering it. Pulled out the Bucky, pulled out the Judge. He was like, maybe I just need a bigger shotgun.
I mean, we have seen the shorty, and it ended up in an ace, so what makes it any difference?
Quick feet, quick trigger.
I believe that was from Botex himself, right?
Well, it was from Botex, yeah. And now he has a Marshall. Oh,
Ooh, a great shot from RBDJ here.
Coming through.
Now Kage just take it. Oh, a bit of a missed wall there, but won't matter for Ryan. He still gets the kill. Two people on site though. High-low setup. Milf Hunter
Standing.
swings but doesn't find anything. Bunch of stuns coming out. No results.
oh no.
Ryan just kind of shooting into the void. There's Botex. Runs for his life.
Spike planted.
Can they hear people using the rope?
I believe Locke should have heard that. He was right above him.
I don't think they know.
They are pinging it though. Maybe aware that he could have gone to either side. But they want to hunt him though. Look at the econ here. Vacuums really doesn't have anything. And RBDJ is just kind of bunny
Ooh.
hopping around, headshots. Botex. Maybe that
Point.
that fence gate is working out too well for Botex at those longer ranges.
A lot of people, you can see their confidence showing in this show match. I like a lot of RBDJ popping off, Artemis with a good flanks on Brimstone. You can see how they're shooting, just straight up heads. I don't think they can be stopped right now, especially, well, it's 12-3. It's a hard comeback. They'd have to win 9 rounds in a row. And with their econ and a broken buy, I don't think that's particularly possible. And there goes Dusty.
Now, I will actually say, at a certain point, the econ doesn't actually matter. Like, I guess if you're talking about like a massive comeback, the idea is you'll have to keep winning rounds anyway for the game to continue. So just keep buying, I guess. But now we're seeing a bit more contention here, actually. The Milf Hunter does fall. As two members of Kage just end up pushing into spawn, but Botex with the Judge finds two.
Do they have enough
Very
time?
winnable round, but struggling to find a gun through the smoke.
They don't have enough time.
Yeah, they'll have to go out right now.
One enemy remaining.
I believe that's it. That's time. Not long. Trying to get a nice
That's
kill.
so unlucky.
Attackers win.
Wow, what a
There you
stop
have
on
it,
Fracture.
folks. You're gonna start seeing vacuums banning Fracture in the future.
Let's talk about it though. I feel like, again, maybe Sova wasn't the play. I think maybe a Fade pick would have done them much better in terms of, even in their aggressive playstyle, they might have had more value out of Fade, but if you're comfortable with Sova, I guess that's what you have to play off of. And again, their holds compared to Kage, they weren't as set up correctly or properly to effectively trade out their teammates or to be able to hold delay for their team to rotate. So a lot of aggression was easily countered by Kage and just didn't play out correctly. I think that's why Fracture was it was a massive mess for Vacuums, but I think they should be feeling it a bit more in a very familiar map, actually. Our next map is Split, so I think people should be a bit more at home with Split.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that though, because I think Split is actually the most similar to Fracture in a sense, because when it comes to like, rushing the site, similar to Fracture, it's very difficult to do that because if you try to rush through B main, it's a tiny, narrow choke point that you can just spam mollies into. I mean, you occasionally see Viper on this map, and so combine Viper with like a Killjoy or even a Cypher or Raze, and you just have so much stall utility. Combine that with the Sage, even, and they're just not getting through, those choke points, and especially even with the changes to A, I think A is a bit easier to attack for attackers, but five-man rushing it down A is quite difficult against a team that knows how to hold you at that choke point.
I agree. I think, yeah, we're going to be having a 5 to 10 minute break for the teams to kind of just take a little bit of a breather, have a bit of a mental reset, especially after all the knifing and the ace in tower. We're going to have to take a break from that.
Yeah. All right, guys, welcome back to the Oceania show match between Kage and the Vacuums. Hope you're all doing well after that break. We'll be getting into our second game on Split in just a few moments.
But before we do that, I think we're gonna have a bit of a recap here. Now, what do you want to talk about in Split? Because there's a bunch of things that happened in that game, even if it's a big stomp. It ended in, I think, 13-3. Now there are moments we have to talk about, like the 4K coming in on the rope, and you also have the ace in tower from a shorty evolving into
Yeah,
a vandal.
call that a
How do
huge
you
weapon upgrade.
Yeah, a bit too much, but how would you actually say that? How again? How would you think they could have won Fracture from that?
Um, personally, I think it came down to losing too many rounds on attack for the Vacuums. I mean, I would say, of course, in the upper echelons of play, it's Fracture's evolved into more of a, I guess, like 7-5-8-4 kind of attacker map where you expect the attackers to have a little bit of an advantage going into the second half. Um, and then, which just gradually becomes like a 50-50. But in lower level play, you would really expect to see most teams having a pretty big lead in attack, and it just kind of was um, the opposite, I think. It was just a lot of really, you know, big beatdowns onto that one choke point, and really Vacuum just needed to split push more, really needed to work the map a lot more because after a certain point, Kage just didn't fear, flanking them, just going around the map being like, okay, I'll shoot you in the
Select your
back.
agent.
I agree, actually. I think a lot of it fell off in the attacking side, which again, it's supposed to be the stronger side of Fracture. It
Oh,
just didn't play out. But here, look at it. There's a harbor. We were talking
yeah.
about there's
There's
a
a
harbor
harbor.
pick going on in Split, and as you mentioned, Sage is of course staple. We've got the KO to suppress a lot of abilities. We're also looking at a Phoenix and a breach. So I think it's a lot of you've got 3 sets of flashes going in for Kage here, and here's another topic we can talk about. It's an Omen against an Astra, but you also have a harbor. How do you distribute the smokes and the control of the map? Split isn't that big to a harbor and an Omen who can keep replenishing his smokes.
Um,
Uh,
I think Harbor's walls are gonna work in the same way that you'd normally see Viper's walls work as a secondary smoker. Um, I think unlike Viper, you won't be able to default a wall on attack, but you will be able to just constantly harass the opponents by, just having so much smoke that they can't actually see certain parts of the map, and that's going to allow you to take a lot of control in places like mid. Um, and I think having the Omen as the primary smoker will allow you to hit sites a lot easier. But again, we will have to see what the efficacy of Harbor on Split is going to be like, because again, we haven't seen that many that much play from Harbor in general, so it's just very difficult to say. But now, Kage on the defense, standard 2-1-2 default setup here. Sage on mid, but Vacuum's going for a fast A hit. Flash does come out.
Can't use that.
Ryan kind of whiffing on his shots, just able to get away with his life. Getting spammed down through the wall here. Sage, prudent with the wall, not just putting it on mid. A lot of damage going through these walls.
One enemy remaining.
But Kage,
Spike down A.
first, well, some flawless coming in from Kage. I was about to say what the trades are going to be, but the round's already over.
What a scrappy gunfight on ramps. That's all 5 players from both sides just battling it out on one really small choke point, which got even smaller because of the Sage wall, by the way. It's been, again, you mentioned it's been saved. It wasn't used on mid just right away, straight out of the bat, as people would normally do at playing Sage, but everything just funneled into ramps for some reason. No one even tried to get control of A main. Now it's probably going to happen the same way in B main.
Yeah, 5-man rush down B main. with pistols, lots of noise. But the Astra Star does come out. Second one saved probably for a stun or a suck here. It does. Again, such a
we have an
narrow
AVK.
choke point. All you gotta do is just shoot. You don't even need utility at this point. Another smoke. Oh, not a smoke, but a concussion. Botex does manage to trade out his teammate there. 3v4 situation for the vacuums.
I'd
As
say
they're
it's a
kind of missing a
3v3.
shot and manages to clear out that angle.
One enemy
Isolates that fight.
Spike down.
And Ryan flashes himself.
That was a 3v3 actually. KO wasn't RBDJ wasn't actually moving for most of that round in the first.
Oh.
Yeah, he was AFK in spawn, and apparently they've been playing Fortnite in the background. He managed to pull that off. Actually, if you're looking at the economy right now, no one actually invested into Spectres too much. Most people were using ghosts and upgraded pistols against an eco round. No one bought up, but the round still goes to Kage, I guess. And again, the wall was saved perfectly by the Sage, so good hold,
Yeah.
I'd say.
Botex just in the chat there. Artemis making it out in time, but walls off zipline here. Gonna make it very difficult for the attackers to come off. That aftershock surprisingly doesn't hit anybody.
What is going on?
I'm not even sure. It's an absolute meat grinder here in zipline, and now the spike is on top of the box. As Dusty jumps down and gets the pick on
Player
Artemis.
standing.
RBDJ not able to get the trade. Zipline is very treacherous when you're jumping down because you have no idea where the opponents are going to be. And now it looks like the attackers might have to break their own stage wall here. Kind of trap themselves in.
Now this is actually
30
winnable,
seconds left.
especially if Ryan gets a gun. I'm pretty sure he will be able to. They know exactly where he is.
He's used
That's
both
Sage.
flashes already.
Yep.
Blaze Wall does come out, but not gonna find too much value. Though to be fair, both members of Vacuums are quite low on HP. Heal will come up in about 2 seconds though, so that can change. Still, Ryan looking very healthy, just being very prudent, clearing all his corners. Will he check this corner? He does. And Gunpick wasn't ready for it. But Dusty able to clutch. Well, not clutch, but managed to find the last kill of the round. Securing it for Vacuums.
That was actually very close from Ryan. I think that was one more shot away from the Phantom just to kill Harbor there. It was a very, considering the heal came up pretty late, it was clutch from the Sage, in fact. So, they're actually quite broke coming into this round. They have a bunch of Spectres instead of full rifles, and it's a very messy round once again. A lot of people just battling it out, and one tiny choke point once again in mid. So, just a lot of damage in the earlier parts of the round, and now, I guess, more side control. No one's actually committing into ramps, and they're able to plan it right away.
Now already you're seeing a lot of trouble that they didn't notice that the Sage is up top. Oh no, Artemis. This could be huge. Finds one, gets the gun, upgrades. Not able to clear Artemis, and Artemis gets another on Milf Hunter. Another one on Gunpig. Does get traded out. 2v2 situation now. DJ and RBDJ, the only ones left on Kage. Now RBDJ does manage to bait, or sorry, Edgenator does manage to bait RBDJ there. And that is honestly a solid conversion from Kage. That honestly didn't look super winnable.
I thought it would be lost completely. It is a thrifty round coming out from Kage, but as I mentioned
Artemis
actually
going
during
huge.
the I mentioned during the map picks that looking at Fracture, Split, maybe Ascent if Kage, or sorry, if Vacuums manage to pull this map off. A lot of fast-paced plays coming in, and it's showing a lot so far. Even if you're on the defending side, things get really, really scrappy between these two teams. Now they're going for a mid
Yeah.
approach.
And Artemis finally putting the wall on mid here as a default. Vacuum's forced to just kind of knife this. Some really awkward gunfights. And Artemis finds... When did that happen?
Artemis is playing whack-a-mole.
Actually, now. Gunpig. Dusty, the only ones there.
One enemy remaining.
Oh,
Artemis
giving
maybe
the
looking
ace.
for the ace here. Yeah. And there it is.
Now, usually when Sages put their walls straight away into mid, it's because
Here.
they have a read, right? And they'd have a lot of information about the opposite team, how they would approach its side, how they would take control. And that round actually was an eco round coming out from Vacuum. So what do pistols really do against a Sage wall and a Sage just playing again whack-a-mole with a Vandal on Heaven? They didn't really have anything to flush her out or counter her at that point, so it was just a good eco round, good ace from the Sage.
Now Ryan with a great smoke, or great flash, sorry. Now looking to regress on ramps. The rest of the team does manage to rotate over. Edgenator with a very long flank, but manages to pay off. Gets another.
One enemy remaining.
Ryan snatches up the last two.
They weren't able to leave A main at that point.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is another problem with just Vacuum's. I guess their attack is very one layer. They're not really fighting for mid. I mean, even if you're not like super high up in the elos, I would say like even starting from plat level, you will see pretty much every team fighting for mid control, and just giving it up gives the opponent so much control over the map in general.
Oh,
Unless you're Toxical and you just shotgun Sage off the wall.
I guess we found the counter to Artemis now, just apparently he's a shotgun.
And just run up to him. Doof. Now it looks like Vacuums are transitioning to mid hit. Ryan about to run into 4, 5.
Spike planted.
Does find one before the ult runs out. RBDJ gets Botex. Now Ryan kind of feeling himself. Toxical. Holding
Player standing.
zipline
no.
to no avail.
3 suppressed.
No Thunder suppresses 3. This is close quarters with the Bucky. Oh no.
The knives.
Death by 1,000 cuts.
I've never seen a knives retake come out with an Astro Wall. I feel like that's kind of clever, because you could weave your way in and out of that Astro Wall, but it's just funny having 4 players coming out of heaven and bringing their knives. You're holding with a Bucky behind the screen and going, well, now what?
Yeah. Though I think it could have gone badly though if he did pull out the Bucky. Just
I think that was actually winnable, yeah.
Doof. Yeah. Looks like Vacuums. Well, this is the thing I've noticed. When Vacuums do push mid, they all push mid from like the same side. They're not really contesting it from several angles. And now Lonk with an op misses. A very interesting shot. Retreats back into zipline though. Having a bit of trouble. And now Ryan
Oh no.
kind of abandoned by his teammate.
I wasn't aware this is a new Omen ult. Everyone's just going around in circles, scattering across the map.
Just the absolute chaos, and now Long doesn't even use the op, just pulls out a classic. Just pushes him with the shotgun. Ryan quite liberal with the flashes here. Now Toxical unaware. Ryan coming from Rams. Now Dusty somehow upgrading to an op from a Bucky. Isn't able to see anything at all.
Gun here.
See, that's the coordination I want to see. That flash coming out from RBDJ in time with Ryan trying to peek out through A main with him. That's the kind of synergy you want to be seeing. But otherwise, if your synergy is defined as running around like headless chickens with shotguns and again jumping out of heaven, maybe that's a strat. I think how we're seeing it, right? Vacuums thrives off of chaotic plays. They kind of just run around and try to get a pick, but like you mentioned, no one's really split pushing. They're not applying pressure or showing any presence in other sides of the map. They all just funnel into one entry.
Now you're starting to see Harbor just kind of maybe looking for a lurk here, but with a shotgun. Now, will Edgenator and RBDJ give him the due diligence? There's only one player on A. And yet this is somehow the least chaotic round.
They clear
And
out
they do
the
clear
rat.
Dusty. Lonk, coming from the flank, gets shotgunned in the head. Oh man. BDJ does find Gunpig, Edgenator on Votex, and Artemis just manages to pick up the last two. Now, you don't see that every day. Huge flanks on split. Like 4-man flanks on split.
That barely happens. Nah, you barely have anyone actually really pushing out of either mid or B main actually until you have more information on where the rest of the team is. But I'm surprised they cleared out Dusty here. He was holding such a ratty position in sewers, and someone decides, well, maybe I should clear that corner. It's a bit of an eco round, and surprise, surprise, you've killed the sewer rat.
And that wall actually coming in clutch, manages to block the flash. And now Vacuum's cleanly taking the site, but they all have shotguns.
Here.
You see a lot of Kage coming in from the flank. Again, 4 flanks. That's crazy. And now RBDJ solo holding heaven. But the shotgun coming in huge from Botex, but 2 already fall. Now Toxical completely blind, unable to help his team.
One enemy.
Now in a 1v1 situation. Versus RBDJ. Now RBDJ does kind of know where he is. Manages to have the spike. Toxical doesn't have much of a choice except to push. And he manages to get the round.
I like that round a lot from Vacuums. Well, look, they had the lesser buy, obviously like a bunch of shotguns. But then you see how the Sage wall was set up, and it was actually, it had a bit of a hole in it going onto site. They were baiting, they were intentionally leaving a funnel open for the defenders to retake. And their breach, actually, Edgenator, ended up stunning his own teammates. So, I think that's what especially helped with the Jet getting a 3k with a Judge, so. That retake, not as clean as you want it to be, but that side take was very, very clean coming out from Vacuums.
Yeah, this flash just barely managing to miss Edgenator here, but Ryan goes,
Spike down mid.
gets the trade, finds 2. Toxical in heaven now, finds the timing on RBDJ. And now there's Long just running into the smoke. Botex manages to upgrade to a Vandal. It's on 30 HP. It looks like the Vacuums will rotate over to A.
Spike planted. Cover going out.
But Artemis has been hitting shots, so you never know. 2 members of Vacuum's quite low already. No heal available. Artemis might be able to find an amazing timing here. Sees one. Is he aware of zipline though? That's a kill with the 4K.
Last
Whoa.
round in the half.
Bit of a spin there.
I mean, even if a bunch of the players from Vacuums were low, Artemis would have had to clear out how many angles coming into the A side. You have A main to worry about. You have Hell, well, the new split Hell, and you have Heaven. Again, he didn't even get to clear vents. That's why he was able to, Bot was able to get the information on the drop. Just hard to retake even in a 1v3 situation.
Yeah, and Botex, I think unintentionally re-lurked into zipline. Normally you would see like a late lurk coming in from zipline originally, but then Botex went back into zipline, then came back out.
Right.
And ooh, misses the knives on
Spike planted.
Eginator there.
Last player
Dusty
standing.
though, last one standing with the Bucky. Finds one.
I'm surprised they're not sticking it by now.
Yeah, and the breach ult does come out just to be safe, and oh no, this
Oh,
could be
no.
bad. For BDJ, no.
I would like surely you hear the drop from Heaven, because when you get stunned by the breach ult, you hear a bit of a dropping sound when you jump, right?
Yeah, hear the doof.
Yeah, the doof on the wood, and no, apparently not. You just get knifed casually trying to retake. With a Bucky.
Yeah. I was originally thinking that he might just take the weapon and run, but
It's the last round.
it is the last round. That's why it's too late. I was like, oh, let's save for the next game, you know? Now we are
I think
seeing
we're
a
gonna see
five-man rush on A from Kage here, actually. We'll see how this plays out, actually.
I don't think it'll end up very good. The only person really holding is a... Oh.
But Botex finds two somehow. Gets out with his life.
Paranoid doesn't catch anyone, but this is still a retake situation.
Yeah, and only two people on site, sorry. Could be a bit dangerous, but Gulf Hunter not able to find the shots. Botex going pretty crazy with the ghost here. In a very similar situation from the last half, actually. Phoenix to his left, KO to his right, and Ryan finds a 3K onto Botex.
That's unlucky. I thought Botex was going to ace the round. I had pure confidence that Botex would just pop off, try and get the pick on the KO, and then, I don't know, flick onto the head of the Phoenix. But I was worried, because if they rush sites like this, and your only utility to actually hold them back is a harbor, people are just going to run in anyway. You don't really have anything to stop them. You only have a jet who can aim. Not much other utility.
And it looks like Vacuums are going for their trademark five-man shorty rush. And it's not quite paying off, though. Dusty does find one. But there's only so much you can do.
One enemy remaining.
And lock. Cat's just got big out in the open.
Oh, there's a Sage in my smoke.
I wonder how they got there.
Just holding a shorty, they had like a bit of eye contact before they actually fired their guns. It's like, oh, now what do we do? It's a bit of a standoff coming out there, but I actually thought that the defending side of Vacuums would be a bit more, I don't know, I guess more manageable, because they have the shotguns, especially on a map like Split. You can do a lot of ratty plays here, and I think Toxicale is going to do exactly that.
Oh, but this is a well-placed star from Lonk. Doesn't matter, though, as Toxicale just going in with a judge. Does get spammed down by Artemis. Now Gunpick knows that somebody's crossed. but misses the shots onto Artemis.
Last player
Crucial kill
standing.
there. Milf Hunter just gets his head ripped off. Now, Botex forced to go back. Only a Marshal on hand. Upgrades to a Vandal though. That looks like RBDJ will push and run and gun Botex.
Rough. That's a rough game. I mean, they've been having rough rounds and games since Fracture, but there's a timeout coming out from.
Our first timeout of the whole series.
Oh, it was Kage that I'm
Oh,
assuming
Kage.
that was. No, I'm assuming it was actually for Vacuums because MILF Hunter was the one who called for the timeout, but
He
I
was
guess it's a bit too
Ryan
late.
called it?
Uh, mm, I think they just did it anyway. But 12-3, a timeout comes now, and you're looking at pretty much a really broken eco from Vacuums against a full rifle lineup from Kage, and it's just, well, what else can you do to counter this? Are we going to invest in more shotguns? How else are we going to set up across the map? Or, just play for picks, try to rat it out, and apparently
mean-
ask the opposite team knife fight mid.
Surely. And it looks like they're agreeing. This is perhaps Vacuum's last chance at not facing the exact same scoreline as the last map.
We
Looks like
don't
they're sort
really
of-
see knife fights in mid, especially in a tournament, but I guess if this is your time to come back, Vacuums, it has to be now.
Oh boy. Paranoia, maybe not the most useful in this situation. Toxic kill!
Oh,
Does manage
Down mid.
to outplay Agitated there. Now Dusty chasing him down.
Last player standing.
Oh, and Dusty gets behind Long. Ryan, the only member of Kage. The only surviving member. With no
Oh,
choice
no.
but to run
Run.
away. Running for his life. Has no choice. If he
there's
stops for
no
even a
way
second,
to
he's
actually.
dead.
No, there you can slow him
Oh,
down.
with the slow.
The slow
Oh,
of
actually
that
slows down
cascade
his
can push
teammates.
him out. Oh. Nah, he's gonna run
Ryan.
around and get the spike.
In a
Oh,
very
that-
dangerous situation, slows down.
This is a racetrack going on now. If you had a neon, obviously this would be over, but
Oh, Ryan
Oh.
decided to go out in a blaze of glory.
they did agree on no util, so seeing the Astra Stars come out and make people vulnerable, I think that's what really changed it. I'm pretty sure they won't be doing. Yeah, they're
Probably
just gonna
won't be
be
doing
going
it,
back
yeah.
into normal. Yeah. Pro tournament escalation. Can you think about it? Like, imagine if they made
Oh my.
like a tournament out of escalation. That would be munted, but here we are. We're looking at it.
Oh.
Is that a 5-man
Right.
Odin?
Yeah, it's a 5-man Odin push down mid. Gun pick though does get the last laugh in that situation. Toxic kill comes up from behind.
Spike down mid.
Now Ryan also with an Odin in hand. Oh no, this could be bad.
Ah,
Attack
they didn't have to
win.
push it. They had the spike perfectly sitting in mid, but game's over, 13-4. It's not the exact same endpoint as we had in Fracture, but it's still a bit of a stomp here because, well, aggression's not really working out so much for Vacuums. We have a lot of hero play, so from Toxic Hail especially, and Botex. But you also have people who are absolutely feeling it today, like Artemis, Ryan, RBDJ, especially in the first map, and Long, who was even rocking a Cypher op, right? We don't really see that often, and you see such bizarre compositions and matchups. This is a very interesting game, though.
I think we can say one thing for sure though is that Vacuum's adept at close quarters combat with the shorties and the knives. Extremely well versed in the art of just absolutely punching you in the face.
I think that was her strongest point, actually. A lot of short range battles compared to long range, where you'd have RBDJ, for example, rip off MILF Hunter 69's head from, I don't know, probably 50 meters away.
Yeah, Milfuncher was not doing too well that game. Having a bit
I
of
hate to
trouble.
bring up numbers, actually. I really hate to bring up numbers, but MILF Hunter actually didn't get any kills that game.
Oh,
And
I just noticed. Yeah.
and looking at it, 2 assists on KO. It's a rough matchup that we have here. I think you can clearly see a bit the skill difference, but of course, as it is in every other tournament, it's a learning experience, especially for people in the lower sets of elos. I think I think they still had fun.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely. I mean, I guess yeah, you can take all these situations to be quite a learning experience. I mean, probably is. People aren't used to doing that best of three format where you get the map bans, you have time to practice a specific map that you want to play, um, and just in general go through that process, which I think in itself is quite fun. Having time to spend with a couple of friends, just practicing. Really trying to elevate your gameplay, and you might even be able to take some of these things into your normal play. When you play solo queue or maybe you're duoing with somebody else, just being able to, I guess, really just elevate your own play and progress.
Oh yeah, I think tournaments are always such a good like skill check for different players. And as you mentioned, it's a very different experience because playing with a team, or at least in a custom game or in a setting of a tournament, it's completely different from playing a ranked match because those are people the people you're versing. You don't know them. They're not necessarily a team that has any synergy. Maybe they're just feeling it for the day, and well, again, it's a learning experience. You get to play with your friends and queue up as a 5 stack, try and rip heads off, or run down mid with shorties.
I believe that time was actually a judge, maybe. Oh no, that was on A main actually. Yeah, when Toxic Hell pushed with the judge.
Oh, actually, we're going to be going for a bit of a break, so we'll be catching you in a little bit.
Welcome back, everybody. Hope that break was good for you guys. Just want to say, well, we're done with our two maps, and congratulations to Kage. You guys did amazing on your two maps. We actually have Alama here to have an interview. Just want to ask you guys, how do you feel about the win?
Well, it was a pretty dominant win, but we had fun while doing it, so it was a great match.
Yeah, it was certainly fun to watch at a lot of different points as well. Just want to ask, like, how did you guys like when you guys got surprised by like the shotgun rushes? Did you guys have like an actual plan in mind when you were like, okay, we can't go through here anymore, or, what was the thought process?
Well, yeah, there was one round where we were thinking, oh, they're gonna have shorties everywhere on our save round. And we were thinking, oh, we can't go B, we can't go vent, we can't go heaven, we have to go A.
Was that the round where you guys got judged by Toxicale?
Yes, it was, yes.
And so the one place you decided to go, you were just like,
Yeah,
oh, there's a bigger shotgun here.
exactly.
When you do the
Oh
interview, you're
man.
like, oh yeah, it wasn't me, it was actually bot.
Now, I actually have like a counter question coming in from Toxicale. How did you decide that everyone should, I don't know, hold a shotgun at one point in the map?
Funny.
Sorry.
Funny.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
funny. Yeah, I
It's
mean,
funny.
yeah, because for a long time Artemis was abusing the Sage Wall, just going on top of it. But then we kind of saw Toxicale go in and go bonk with a
Bonk.
shotgun. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the only counter we could possibly see for Artemis at that point.
Yes. Um. Yes.
Yeah, because it's funny. Shotguns are funny.
Yeah, because shotguns are funny. Yes.
And I guess we have to talk about
We're
like,
not talking about that.
oh, I mean, another thing. How did you? A lot of what we noticed when you were playing the different maps, uh, you tend to all go through one entrance. Was there any plan to try and split up or try and play slower, or was it just like, okay, we're gonna go in and try kill someone?
Yeah, so like we know how to strategize. We're just terrified. So, the saying strength in numbers?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. So basically what we did is we deployed the tactical cuddle and we basically just cuddled together and died, basically. It was the game plan. And emotionally made us feel better. Really.
The game plan is the power of friendship, apparently, and shotguns.
Yes.
I forget the
Shotguns help.
shotguns. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Power of 12 gauge.
I mean,
Gauges.
coming from Ilama, right? They mentioned it was a stomp, or it was like a dominant matchup. So how does your team feel, Toxic Hale, about I don't know how it turned out because you had like a total of 7 rounds, I think.
Yeah, so Tinical.
That explains the vacuum, I guess.
Indeed.
Just was
Yeah,
that playing the entire time?
Yes. Yeah, it
Oh,
was.
I can see why that explains some things. Yeah, that explains a couple things.
All right. Well, I'd like to thank Toxicale from Team Vacuum, clearly
Yeah.
with a loud vacuum, and Alama over here from Kage Esports.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you guys so much for playing. It's a pleasure to watch.
Oh, shut up.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I got told to shut up.
But I think that ends the stream. All in all, I think that's what we have for the show match. I hope people enjoyed. Thank you for coming to the stream. Make sure you have the power of friendship and shotguns.
Indeed. We'll see you all later.
One